Hi, I'm Morgan, and I love grid systems. A little bit too much. So much so that I use them all the time. Ever since I realised that applying a grid in a design and then being able to translate that design one-to-one from a tool like Figma to the web, well, that once I realised that actually things can be done pretty much pixel perfect precision, I've never looked back, and I use this tool all the time. It's a no-brainer because people want, because I'm a developer primarily, I primarily take designers' work and I translate it into the finished product, which is a website or a web app or an e-commerce store or whatever it is. It's all using the same tech. People want to see, they don't want it looking like a fucking Cubist Picasso interpretation of their design. They want it one-to-one. So I sort of learned to pick up on the grid, and most designers use grid systems, and I'm very adept at sort of creating the exact same grid in CSS, either with just native CSS or using a framework like Tailwind or whatever it is. Or there's even Material UI, that's another good one. But they're there for a reason, these things, and I became fascinated, and I became even more fascinated once I read this book here, Grid Systems in Graphic Design. Everybody refers to it, and it's for a good reason, because it lays down the principles of what a grid system's for, and it also demonstrates how you can use it. But that book is all about paper, which is a completely different medium to web. The web is totally different, and you cannot replicate those principles one-to-one. I can go into that in more detail in another video. But for now, I'm just going to quickly show you an example of a grid that I've used on one of my own projects, which is my personal website. And so the benefits that this grid gives me is it allows me, and I've picked, what we've got here, 2, 3, 4, I think it's 16 columns, on a large screen. That allows me quite a bit of variety with the layouts on a large screen. So you can see here, this is one layout. We've got these testimonials that are pulled out to the side that sort of align with this header. The image is inset. It creates, even though it's quite simple, it creates a little bit of variety and makes it more interesting. And you can see here's another layout that utilises the full width. And here's another layout which is similar to the homepage, but again slightly different. And there's different areas that are used for like the navigation on the right hand side there. You can see we've got this on-page navigation. There's a space here for some adverts or whatever. And so through it I've created quite a lot of variety. But there's an adherence as well, so you can see there's an adherence, there's an overall look and feel, and the grid allows me, in conjunction with typography and other aesthetic sort of principles, because the grid's just one aspect of it. And another thing that you'll learn from the book is the typography and the grid work hand in hand, and imagery. It's primarily those three things. So we're looking at typography, imagery, and the grid. But I've gone away from the main point, which is the grid. And see, here it is. Now, I've also used the grid here. This is another design. So this was designed by someone I work with, Chris, and so he's handed this off to me, and I'm able to replicate his design pretty much exactly as he's designed it, because we're using the same grid. It acts as a reference, so we know this block of text goes in this column at this point, and this block of text goes in this column at this point. And it's a bit like painting by numbers. And you might notice as well that things don't always align, and that's because there's multiple grids at play here. You can't see them all. You can only see what I've highlighted, which is the master grid, which everything aligns to. So on every single page throughout the website, you'll have one main grid. That introduces consistency and adherence. Then within it, you have like subgrids or what have you. So everything hangs together on this grid. This is like a slot. So this design, this web page is built with slots. So each section is a slot and has its own grid. There isn't really a master grid in this one. Yeah. So I just thought I'd share that with you. I'm going to be focusing on grids and do some more videos and do some more demos, because I feel like it's still a hot topic, simmering away somewhere at the back of people's psyches. I'm going to sort of trigger it and bring it to the forefront. Thanks for watching.